Alright guys, before we get rolling in today's video, gotta let you guys know we have our storm training rodeo coming up February 4th. First link in the description below will be a link to it. If you guys are interested in storm work, want to make it out, are local, kind of local, don't mind taking a little drive, come out here, we'll have some food, we'll get some knowledge, we'll get you guys signed up, and get you guys ready to make some money this year. It's a big deal. If you guys are not in the area, my email will be on the flyer. I'll put the flyer up on the screen here. Email me, we'll get you signed up. It is a big year for storm work. Big year to make some money, big year to put some money in your pocket, big year for the race cars. So if you guys want to make your race cars faster, storm work is the fastest way to make your race cars faster. Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome back to the video. We got some very exciting news, made some amazing progress this past weekend here at LS Nasty Racing HQ. We got a lot of big things going on. We got a lot of moving parts behind the scenes that are all starting to come together, and it's very, very exciting. I'm very excited for what we have coming up this year. It's still pretty early. Obviously, it's like January, what, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, I don't even know. But racing season is not really kicked off yet here in the Carolinas, but we are shaping up to be in great shape. You guys know we are getting Slick Rick ready for the dyno, hoping to take it to the dyno this week up at TCAM Performance. And we got the Black Sheep motor. It's been back, but I've been too busy to really do anything with it. Except for this weekend, we got, look at this. Boom. Black Sheep engine is going together, and look at this. Now, what's a little bit different about the Black Sheep engine this time is, this might be terrifying to some of y'all, but yours truly assembled this. Now, don't worry, I did have adult supervision. I have assembled engines before, but never from a bare block to a complete running long block. I've done, I've shoved some pistons in the holes. I put a crank in a motor. I've put a million sets of LS heads on. I'm very comfortable with that. But as far as doing everything start to finish, front to back, top to bottom, up and down, I really haven't done anything. So Scott, you guys know Scott from Drag Week. You guys have seen him on Clapped Out. He's been on the Discovery Channel. He's been everywhere. He helps me with my motors and a little bit of the technical side of things. He taught me how to properly adjust the valves and check the valves, like stuff like that, stuff that you can watch some videos, but when you get someone that's extremely experienced, has been doing it forever, when they're like, hey, try doing it this, think of it this way. He helped me and showed me how to assemble an engine, and there's a million ways to skin a cat. So not one way is right, one way is wrong. Everyone does it differently. But Scott, I'm very fortunate to have him as a good friend, and he comes up here and teaches me a lot of things. Not just assembling a motor. Like, we talk about the different things that go into this. It's very, like, for me, it's like next level. Like, it really, I really have to, like, flip a switch, put a lot of brain power into, every single step, and I try to remember as best as I can, because this stuff here, I mean, it's tough. It takes years of experience. So if you can learn from someone who has the years of experience, learn from their mistakes, from their failures, from their trials and tribulations, that's just putting me on like the fast track. So I'm very fortunate. I have an absolutely amazing support system and people that just have so much knowledge from all the companies I work with, being so close to all the guys up at TCAM Performance, having someone like Scott, it's just like, I'm super fortunate every way I look. If I have a question, if I need some help, if I need some guidance, if I need some technical support, with Matt as well, like, it's just next level. And I think you guys have seen that in the success in the program in the past couple years, where we've really kind of elevated it and taken it to the next level. So this is what we got going on. We'll give you guys a quick walkthrough of the Black Sheep engine. Now, this is a Black Sheep Stage 3 dry. As you guys can see, it is a dry engine. We're not running any water through it. This is a water block that has been filled with concrete, so no water jacket. We don't run any water through it. We run it on methanol. We run it in a drag race application. We do not street drive it. You guys can get this Black Sheep Stage 3 engine package and this Black Sheep camshaft at TCAM Performance. It's on their website, so you guys can go and order a 2,500 horsepower proven this thing's been 412 at 180 miles an hour, 330 passes. These are the bearings. I'll show you guys the bearings from 330 passes. This is 330 passes on a set of bearings. I'm not lying. I'm not joking. This is the truth. That is what 330 passes on a Black Sheep Stage 3 going as fast as 412 in its last few passes. We were flying, and we just decided to take it apart because, you know, we put a new set of rods in it. As you can see, they're the old rods, MGP rods. Yeah, I mean, really, no complaints. There it is. No secrets here. So, now, we got Matt coming back in town this week. Matt's been busy working, so we are really going to kick it up in high gear with Slick Rick, the Black Sheep, the Red Lobster. Everything's going to get knocked out. The real technical videos will be coming. So for those of you guys that are here on the channel for just the straight up tech, don't worry, Matt's going to be back. But let's talk about this guy here. So what we have, this one is spec'd out as an aluminum dart block with a set of Dart Pro 1 LS7 heads. Nothing crazy. Off the shelf stuff. The crank is a Cali's Ultra Billet crank. It is not one that's got Cleveland mains or anything like that. Straight up LS shit. If you guys look down here, we have a set of MGP rods. As you guys can see, those big ass aluminum rods. Like I said, here's one right here. This is just a used set, but we got a brand new set in there. Very beefy, very good. A lot of people will say, hey, can you run those in a street driven application? Look at those bearings, dude. That's 330 passes. I don't know how to get a good look at it. Can you guys see it? Yeah, you guys can see it. If you guys can't see it, you don't need to be building motors. 330 passes on this rod. That is insane. That is unheard of in racing. And I'm not lying to you. That's what we got. We probably could have ran it longer. 330 passes, MGP aluminum rod, TCAM Performance, Black Sheep Stage 3. There you go. So we got the same rods in here, just fresh ones. And then we got the same pistons. They are some custom TCAM Performance Wiseco pistons that we had coated over at the guys from Line to Line Coatings. Now, they coated the pistons, and then they coated the wrist pins as well. So we don't use like we don't use like the 990 wrist pin. We use the 927 wrist pin. So some people are like in the LS, they like to get the real big, huge, beefy wrist pin. Me personally, I don't like that wrist pin because you take away some material from the piston in the skirt. I run the 927 wrist pin. Had no problems. No problems at all. Now, we did get it coated, and then the guys at TCAM did bore the small end of the rod out to fit. So we kind of made sure there was nothing was loose, nothing, well, I can't even talk. Nothing was loose, nothing was wobbling around there. They also coated the pistons. So it was a 4125 bore previously. It is a 4128 bore with the coating on there to make up the difference. So we really used everything we could from the 330 pass setup on here, as crazy as that sound. This motor previously went together in 2020. Yes, we ran this thing for 2 years. 2 years on the same set of bearings. I just don't think you guys understand how ridiculous that is. In a race motor that we're pushing all out. A 2,750 pound car going 180 miles in the eighth. Bottom, one flat, we've been sub 1 second 60 foots with it. There's a couple things we're going to talk about which I think are big factors of why it lives, but everything's got to work together. This is just a very happy setup. Now, we did change our spring package on this. We did get a new valve job done to it. We got 2 new valves, but everything else checked out good, which is just like unheard of with the longevity. We got these badass T&D rocker arms. These are T&D billet steel rocker arms, custom for these Dart LS7 Pro 1 heads. These things are badass. All right, it's probably holding the correct way so you guys know what they look like. Boom, they go in there. We got our billet rocker stands with them. I love the T&D rockers. These guys, to me, are the best. I like these a little bit better, and I'll tell you why. So there's some other companies out there. I'm not going to say names. I don't have any beef with them. I have nothing. This is just personal preference. So if you'll notice, this adjuster on the rocker, I'll zoom in here. It is not hollow. So what happens is, now this is, I've been learning, I'm a student of the game, I've been learning this for a long time. What happens is, it feeds oil through the push rod. If you look at our push rods here, we got these badass Manton push rods. They have a hole in the end, right? Oh, you guys probably can't see through it. There's a hole in the end of those. Oil will come up through those and into the adjuster cup of the rocker, right? Boom, just like that. Most commonly, there'll be a hole in the top of the adjuster, and it will lubricate via splash oiling, okay? so it will splash the oil everywhere, and that's how you get your lubrication. The T&Ds go through the rocker stand. So that's what I like. So it oils this needle bearing here a little bit better. And now you do have to pay attention if you take them apart, because you can't put them on backwards or nothing like that. You'll tear some shit up. Just like the Hemi stuff, it oils through the stand. So that's what I like about this. It's not just hemorrhaging oil everywhere. It's making sure that the needle bearings 100% have the proper lubrication. So I've never had any failures with the T&D rocker arms. I have messed these up by my mistake. Bad valve adjustment, leaving a nut loose, something like that. It'll beat up a cup. But the thing I love, I might have one on here that's like beat up. The billet steel ones, man, these things are tough. I will tell you that. These suckers here are tough. They can take a beating, and you just stick a new adjuster cup in there, and you're good to go. I had one that had a bent shaft, and the only one I had, and I finished the race with a bent shaft because I left 2 of the bolts loose on the rocker stand, and it kind of like kicked it up, and the pusher beat the hell out of it. Shoved a new cup in there, boom, good to go. So that's what we got going on right now. We have a set of Isky Redline solid roller lifters on a Black Sheep hydraulic roller camshaft. So the camshaft is still 100% the same as when we had the hydraulic lifters in there. The only thing is we have a solid lifter in there now. These are the 904 lifters. So we had a set of Johnson 904 hydraulic roller lifters when we set the record. We put these in there. We're trying some new things, trying some different spring packages, and seeing how fast we can go with this cam profile. Now, how much power, how much ET, how much mile an hour are we gaining by going from the hydraulic to the solid? I don't think a lot. I think it's just giving us a little bit more adjustability and fine-tuning with the valve train. And what I mean is, when you get into these like max efforts, hydraulic roller stuff, you're putting so much spring pressure on them, and you're running the lash so tight, it's acting like a solid lifter. Now, did we set the record with a set of hydraulic lifters on a hydraulic cam? Yes. Was it acting as a hydraulic lifter? Who knows? We put so much spring on it that people would be like, oh, that'll never work. And we run such little lash that people would be like, oh, it'll never work. For the sake of the record, we did it. Yeah. Internet records. Fast hydraulic roller LS. I mean, that's a big deal, I think. But really, we just oversized everything, left the hydraulic stuff in there, and said, go to work. And it went to work. So that's the setup that we got on this thing. Right now, we're making some changes to this. And talk to the guys over at Innovators West. We are going to go away from the cam gear and run a belt drive. So I know I'm going to get a belt drive for the Glizzard, but I'm going to talk to them and see. I think I want to run a belt drive on this as well, just because we're going to be hunting 3s this year. This year, the Black Sheep LDR, we got to get a little bit of weight out of it. Possibly a new turbo from Force Inductions. A little bit more horsepower. We need a little bit more adjustability if we're going to start doing some camshaft changes or anything like that. Having that belt drive is going to be a huge upgrade, opposed to having the front cover and cam gear. So that's what we have going on here. As you guys can see, I'm very excited. This is the first one that I've really put together, and I'll be honest with you, I've been second-guessing myself a little bit. I'm like, man, you know, did I put that rod cap on the right way? I'm like, did I torque that down enough? Now, I took a note out of Sammy's book up at TCAM Performance, and I colored all of the bolts and the nuts when I tightened them. So I know none of them were missed, but I'm paranoid as hell. I am paranoid as hell. And I'm a little bit worried. I'm going to fire it up, and I'm going to hear some rattling around, and everyone's going to look at me, and I'm going to go like this. Yeah, I forgot something. So this is a big step up for me. I built some stock block LS stuff. I built some junkyard stuff. I'll slap some stuff together, and I really haven't had any issues. But just the level at what this is, I mean, these motors here are absolutely badass. High horsepower, this level, zero room for mistakes. You got to be on your shit 100%. So as you can see, we got a lot of parts off the table. These tables were full of parts, and now they are just about empty. So I want to talk about maybe 2 things on why this motor lived as long as it did, and some recommendations to you guys at home if you guys are doing a build like this. This is like considered like a small block boost or an LDR motor. This is a very bottom of the barrel LDR motor, I think, because some guys are out there running billet big blocks. But depending on what chassis you have, this could fit perfectly in there. So this is just a badass, 2,500 horsepower, 2,600 horsepower aluminum cast LS motor. It's a lot for a small engine. If you ask me personally, the small block Fords make a little bit more power. The LS make great power, a little bit easier to assemble and stick together. Maybe a little bit more reliable, but what you lack in power, you gain in like reliability and simplicity of it. So the downsides to this thing are, if you really start leaning on it like we are, you have to change the oiling system on it. And this is what I'm going to talk about. This is why I think that this motor lived as long as it did. We run an Aviade external oil pump. It is still a wet sump motor. It is not a dry sump motor. There are the benefits for the wet sump motor. Everyone's like, oh, dry sump it, dry sump it. I don't believe in dry sump and everything. Nothing wrong with the wet sump, but the factory style internal LS pump can't hang. It just won't do it. And we went fast with it, but we definitely saw some issues. So we switched up to an Aviade external oil pump, which I'll show you guys right here. This is what she is. Single stage. We run our fuel pump off the back. Oh God, it's heavy as hell. There she is. Whew. You got your adjustment at the bottom, so now you fire it up. You really dial in your oil pressure. This thing right here is a big reason why we were able to run so many passes and so long on that motor, and the bearings look perfect. We had 85, 90 pounds of oil pressure idle every time. Down track, no dips in oil pressure, no real signs of cavitation or oil loss or anything like that. You have to upgrade your oiling system if you want to make this kind of power. It's just part of the game. It is just how it is. You have to do it. The second thing is the oil itself. We were running Shell Rotella even with the external oil pump, and it just would not hang. 4 or 5 passes with the external oil pump, you would see a drop in oil pressure. It's just the oil just get milky. These methanol motors, they just milk the oil. It's how they are. It's part of the game, nature of it. When you get into something like this, don't cheap out on oil. We run Schaefer's oil. Out of all of the race oil, I think it's pretty cost effective. Some of the other oil brands are way higher. The Schaefer's oil is unbelievable in performance, works absolutely great. We went as far as 80 passes without an oil change, and the bearings still look like this. So the Schaefer's oil, when I took it out, it was completely milked. The oil was destroyed, but the oil was still doing what it was supposed to do and provide proper lubrication and not let these bearings get smoked. And that is the name of the game. So we have a great combination of an absolutely badass engine, exceptional machine work, amazing parts. Hopefully I did a good job on the assembly, proper lubrication, and a great oil pump. Hopefully this thing lives for another 300 passes. So these are like the tips and the tricks, guys. I'm telling you right now, the cheat code. Learn from my mistakes. I tried to do it with the internal oil pump. I tried to do it on the shitty oil. I've done it with the steel rods. If you want to go out there and make 2,500 horsepower, this is your LS engine you need. No tricks, nothing crazy. Bunch of off-the-shelf parts, high-end off-the-shelf parts, but nothing crazy. So there you have it. I'm excited. It's Monday morning. We came and got this stuff knocked out on Saturday. It's time to get it wrapped up. Got to make some phone calls, and we'll be getting the front cover stuck on this thing and sticking it back in the Black Sheep. Black Sheep, back at the track, coming soon. We're going to have the Black Sheep and Slick Rick running here, hopefully both by the end of this week, and I'm very excited about it. So thank you guys so much for everything you guys do, watching, commenting, liking, subscribing, and get excited. We got this sucker together. Matt's on his way in. We're about to really get some stuff knocked out. We'll see you guys in tomorrow's upload.